All right. Welcome to Wednesday coding practice. Like I said, we are going to continue on with ICD 10 for a little bit since we're doing CPT in our classwork. We're going to go ahead and do ICD 10 for practice since they're asking us to code that too right now. This is great for the newer students who have not been through that yet. Y'all will get some practice and some explanations on why things may look funny. All right, so we're gonna jump right in, y'all. And each of these, I've got three for you, and each are a little bit more complicated. There we go. Each one is a little bit more complicated and in depth. Okay, so we're gonna start out and just remember the steps to coding. We find our key term, we look it up in the alphabetic index, and then we verify it in the tabular and follow any directions, right? All right, so this first one is pretty straightforward. Fibromyalgia, which is a horrible stinking disease. I don't know if y'all know anything about that illness, but it is horrible. But that is what we are going to start with in our coding manual. We'll find fibromyalgia in the alphabetic index, and y'all just let me know when you're there in the alphabetic index and what page it's on, and we'll go from there. Those of you that have your cameras on, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. Those of you that don't, if you can, if you're in a spot where you can, please turn them on for me. So I'm talking to people and not boxes, and maybe I can see who is following along, or if I have anybody following along, or to talk to. And feel free to take yourselves off of mute and let me know what you find. All right, so I found fibromyalgia on page 257 in the alphabetic index. No column, right-hand page, about halfway down or so. Can anybody tell me what code that's bringing me to? No? Nobody's following along at all? Y'all are just hanging out to listen to me go through it? Awesome. Okay. All right.
Sorry, I was helping my kid with homework real quick. I'm going to get my book now.
That's all right. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're going to rock on. Let's see. This one, page 257 in the alphabetic index. And you'll see that it says code M79.7. So then we go to our tabular and we find M79.7. And this will be easy if you have tabbed your manual with the code ranges, then you'll know right which chapter to turn into. Okay. All right. M79.7. All right, I am finding that page 1101. And let me know when you get there, whoever's following along.
I'm there.
Awesome. Okay, so it's on that right-hand page, right? First column, a little bit down, M79.7, fibromyalgia, and it really doesn't say much more than that. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't end in down. There's no red stop sign in front of it. You can see it's pretty clear. right? It's good to go, pretty simple. M79.7. So that would be our code, and the correct answer would be M79.7. Sometimes the alphabetic index will take you to right where you need to be. Other times it will not, okay? In this example, it took us right to our code and where we needed to be. No. Going back in your room until our meeting's over, please. All right, so let's look at this second one. Gestational mammary abscess, and the patient is 8 months along in her pregnancy. All right, so where do y'all think we're going to start in the alphabetic index with this one?
Abscess.
That's probably where I would start to abscess, and then look for, pregnancy or gestational or mammary, or possibly even breast, because we know mammary glands are breasts, right? Excuse me. I think I'm getting sick too. So we could definitely start with abscess. Let me know what y'all figure out. Or what page y'all find it on in the alphabetic index.
I'm sorry, I'm late. What were we looking for?
That's fine. We're doing the second example, gestational mammary abscess. And we're looking for abscess in the alphabetic index.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I see abscess mammary gland, see abscess breast.
All right. What page is that on?
93.
93. There we go. All right, abscess. And abscess is one of those things, y'all, many columns of body parts to look through. So abscess.
Are you wanting the code for that?
We're going to get there.
Okay,
We shouldn't be there yet. We're in the alphabetic index right now.
this one.
What code is the alphabetic index pointing you to?
Give me 1 second.
I have N61.1.
Let's see. I don't think that's going to be correct because
I have, oh, sorry.
this is gestational mammary abscess. So this has to do with pregnancy. So the code, I think, should start with an O.
It's gonna be 091.119.
0.119. Okay,
Is
you're in
that
the
right?
tabular already. We're still in the alphabetic index.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All right, so if you look down, if you start following down abscess, you see that it's taking y'all to several different places, right? One of you found breast, I think. Breast. And that's where you got the N61 code, right? Is under
Yes.
breast. All right. If you keep looking down, look in that second column and down just a little bit, you'll see gestational mammary. And it says 091.11. So that's where we would go. Yeah, I wouldn't, you always kind of want to keep following to see if anything matches your description a little bit better or a little bit more specifically. So yeah, that would have been good. Breast, but in this case, it has gestational mammary 091.1. So we're going to go there. And what page is that on for my person that was already there? Let's see. All right, page 1194. All right, and she said it was 091.19. Why 0.19? What made you pick that one?
Sorry, I went to the bathroom real quick.
That's okay.
Give me 1 second to get back
Sure.
on. Well, that one was that doesn't specify the 8 months pregnant, so I don't know if that would be the actual one.
That's right. It doesn't. It's unspecified trimester. We would use 1-9 if we didn't know how far along she was in the pregnancy. If they didn't specify that, then we could use that 1-9. That's an unspecified trimester. And y'all see how unspecified trimester is highlighted in purple? And then if you look at the couple of codes before, you see first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. And they're all highlighted in purple because that's the main difference between that grouping of codes, is it's all the same code, but for a different trimester. Okay, so for this one, since we know she's 8 months along, we know that's the third trimester, right? So our code is going to be the 0 or 091.113 to indicate that it's an abscess of the breast associated with pregnancy, and it's in the third trimester. So very close, Kirsten, very good. That was really close.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any confusion on why we picked that code why we went with that one instead of one of the others? Anybody need further explanation as to how we got there? How we figured out it was that code? No? All right. This next one is going to be something. This one's a little complicated. It's going to introduce y'all to some stuff you haven't seen before. But little Johnny went to the doctor because he stuck a pea in his right ear. This was the second time little Johnny stuck something in his ear. Oh, Johnny. That's a bad boy. All right, so here's a little tip on this one. Anytime you have anything stuck in a body part, whether it's stabbed in, whether they ate it, whether they stuck it up their nose, in their ear, in their butt, whatever that object is considered a foreign body because it does not belong in the human body. So they call it a foreign body. So no matter what, whether it was a marble in his ear, a pea in his ear, or an eraser in his ear, or a Lego, it doesn't matter. It's all considered a foreign body. When you have something stuck in somewhere, something that doesn't belong, it's considered a foreign body. So for little Johnny sticking a pea in his ear, we're going to be looking for a foreign body in the ear. Okay, that's where we're going to start in our alphabetic index. And I think you could either start with ear or you could start with foreign body. I think you could go either way with those. You remember there's
CPT, right?
Huh?
CPT, right?
No, we're doing ICD-10.
ICD-10.
Yes, we're doing diagnosis. Yeah. All right, so let's look in our alphabetic index. And I didn't check to see which one was more direct as to how it went. So I think I'm going to start with ear. It may lead me somewhere else. Y'all let me know what you find.
I found ear, but it says external.
External. Okay. Let's see. I'm about to tab my alphabetic index just to make it easier. Okay, it says ear, and it says see also condition, and then it gives you some options underneath that. So ear, see also condition. Let's see what's under that though. Piercing, tropical something, wax. No, that's right. Wax. No. Okay, so it says see also condition. Ear doesn't bring us anywhere. So let's look for that condition. And that would be a foreign body stuck in it, right? So let's look for that. And guys, you just follow the directions. It tells us to go somewhere else because ear is not going to help us. So we just follow the directions, just go where it tells us to go. Foreign body form. All right, so
I found T16.
T16. That sounds about right. What page on the
Point nine.
alphabetic,
No, it says right.
what page on the in the alphabetic index did you find that on?
260.
260.
It took me to T16
Okay.
and T16.1 is right here.
Okay. So hold tight. I still haven't found it in the alphabetic index. So hold tight. All right, so foreign body, accidental ailments, entering through orifice, ear, external.
Foreign body is on 262. That's
Yep,
where it starts.
262. And we're looking, if you follow it down into the third column on the left page, it's about a little more than halfway down. And it says ear, external, and T16, just like she had said. And it doesn't really say anything else. So that's where I would go. All right. In T16. What page is that on, guys?
1433.
Let's see. I'm coming up with a different page number. 1450. If you're in the 2023 manual, it'll be 1450. Okay. All right. So which one do you think it is? Which code?
T16.1.
Okay, foreign body in the right ear. That is correct. That is the correct base code. Okay, but you see it has that little stop sign there, that little red stop sign.
Sequilla.
Yeah, in front of it, it has that little red stop sign. So that means we cannot use that code. And if you see in front of that little red stop sign, there's a red X. And that red X means that they want us to put placeholders in this code and bring it out to 7 characters. Like look under T16. It says foreign body in the ear. It has a little, it includes note. And then the next line says, the appropriate 7th character is to be added to each code from category T16. Okay, and then it gives you a little box with some additional indicators, a little bluey purpley box. It says A, D, and S, initial encounter, subsequent encounter, and sequela. Okay, A is initial encounter. That's the first time this has happened to the patient. D is subsequent encounter. This is the second time that this has happened to the patient. And S, sequela, is anything after that. This keeps happening over and over. This has happened lots of times. Okay? So, based on our scenario, which one of these indicators do we need to use?
Subsequent.
Yeah, subsequent. Yeah, subsequent encounter. This is the second time he has stuck something in his ear. So, they say we have to bring this out and add placeholders until we get to 7 characters, right? So if we look at T16.1, that's only 4 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our D for the subsequent character, that's number 5. So we're still 2 shy, right? 2 characters shy of bringing it out to 7. So this is how this is going to break down. All right, can y'all see this good? All right, so you have your T16.1 is your base code. All right, you have your placeholders, and depending on what the code, what your base code is, and what kind of initial indicators you have, is that's gonna make up how many X's you need in there. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 4, okay? For this one, our code starts with 4 characters. We have a 1 alpha indicator, so we're only gonna need 2 X's to get it to 7. So the correct code is gonna be T16.1 XX and then the letter D. Okay, that would be the correct answer. T16.1XXD. That's what, when you see those X's in that in the codes, that's what those are. It's a placeholder. It just means that the people who wrote the CPT manual say this code may need to get more specific in the future. So we're going to have you put in placeholders until it does get more specific. Basically, one day they expect this code to evolve and the base code will not be 4 characters anymore. It'll be 5 or maybe even 6 if they bring it, you know, if they specify that much, if they add that much to it. But for the time being, this is specific as specific as this code gets. Right ear, left ear, unspecified, right? So 216.1 XX and then your indicator, your D. If this was the first time Johnny had stuck a P in his ear, it'd be an A. Okay? If this was the 15th time Johnny stuck a P in his ear or anything else in his ear, for that matter, it would be an S for the sequela. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
That makes sense? All right, very good. And see, guys, this is why, because of things like placeholders and these additional indicators that we have to add on to the codes, that's why we never, ever, ever stop at the alphabetic index. We never go with just what is in the alphabetic index. Sometimes it's right, but more often than not, it's wrong. Okay, and the code has to be more specific. So we have to go to our tabular and verify and add on whatever we got to add on. Okay, so I'm glad that makes sense. Does anybody have any questions about this, about indicators that go at the end, where we got those from? They're not always on the same page with your code. Okay, the rule of thumb on those indicators is to follow it back to the beginning of that chapter, okay, or that section. The bold print, the big one, follow it back till you see the big writing. And if there's no little purple box, then you don't have to worry about indicators, okay? And like I said, your placeholders, it's always going to be an X or a series of X's. It could be anywhere from 1 to 4 or 5. You never know, okay? Usually not 5. It usually max out at 4. But that's where they come from. That's where those X's come from, why you see some 7-digit codes that are just insane. It's not that complicated. It's just the base code plus how many ever X's you need plus whatever indicator. And there's not always an indicator. Just because there's a placeholder does not mean there's going to be an indicator. There could be an indicator with no placeholder or vice versa. It could go either which way, okay? One is not exclusive of the other at all right? It's completely code dependent. So, any questions about that? About placeholders, ICD-10 coding in general, anything at all? No.
Sometimes I feel like the codes on homework or tests just seem to be a little bit more complicated than the examples we go over sometimes.
That's that one we just went over is as complicated as it should get.
Right. So I'm hoping nothing's worse than this.
It's like, If it gets more complicated than this, I don't know where they're getting that stuff from. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. I have a tendency to do some of the easier stuff during the examples to kind of cater to our newer students and stuff to ease them in. But now that we've covered all the basics, everything that we cover from now on will be kind of up to par with exactly what you're finding on your exams. Like next week, we'll go ahead and I'll give you a scenario and we'll start finding CPT codes and ICD-10 codes. I'm sure y'all have noticed on your last, for sure on the last one, maybe the last two, they were asking y'all for both CPT codes and ICD-10 codes. And here's another thing I want to mention, y'all. I still have some of y'all that are putting code ranges for the answer on the exam. Do not give me a range of codes. I want one code. The correct answer is one code, unless it specifies 2 codes or 3 codes. It'll tell you how many it wants if it wants more than one. But please don't give me a range of codes for a 1 code answer. Like for some reason that's like a pet peeve, and it rubs me wrong. I don't know why. As silly as that is, but it's definitely a wrong answer. You cannot, when you're filing a claim, you cannot submit a range of codes for something. You have to be specific. So it'll be getting more complicated as we go on, Asia, don't worry. But that's as complicated as it should get. That example was as hard. That was the hardest thing you can do in coding right there. ICD-10 coding, where you have to add placeholders, is as hard as it gets. That's the pinnacle. If you can do that, everything else is cake. If you can understand that and recognize it when you look in the manual, you've got this. Everything else is cake. Okay? All right, so if later on while y'all are doing assignments and things, you come up with questions that you didn't think to answer here, y'all please shoot me a text message. Let me know and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Things have been, I don't know if y'all have noticed, I'm sure you have, that I am behind on exam grading. I think I have your weekly assignments caught up, but I'm still behind on exams. For about half of y'all. I got about half of it done this morning, but I'm also working on progress reports, and I have a sick kid at home who's been sick for days, and that's why I'm behind on everything, because my life is just a mess right now. So y'all just meet me with some grace on that, and we'll make it through. But I'm hoping to have everything caught up no later than Friday. All your exams, those of y'all that are going to get progress reports will have them by Friday for sure. Should have everything done by Friday. That's the goal anyway. We have our weekly live lecture tomorrow at 4 as usual. And that's about it, y'all. We have graduation coming up on October 20th. A lot of my students, a lot of y'all are newer. So it won't affect y'all.
Will you be able to give me my end date?
Let's see.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I have that report right here. Let's see if it updated. For 16/24. April 16th of 2024 is your projected finish date. So we're in September, October, November, December, January. So yeah, that's about right, about 7 months left. About a month in, a little over. So you're right on track. Right on track. And you're doing great too. So good job. Been doing fantastic. Those of y'all that are getting those daily assignments, that are getting in and doing a little something every day, Y'all are killing it. Y'all are killing it. Y'all are giving you to check what they want, following their expectation as far as being in on a daily basis. And as far as my expectation, you're keeping up with the work and y'all seem to be catching on really good. So if y'all have any questions, concerns, anything like that, get with me. But otherwise, y'all are doing a really fantastic job. So be proud of yourselves. Y'all have caught on to coding a little bit faster than some groups that have had start in the past. So
I've done coding for admitting people into the hospital with the emergency department.
awesome.
So the ICD-10 codes and stuff like that, I'm familiar with.
That's awesome. That
And
always helps. It always helps if it's something you've been exposed to in the past. And that's great. It's really interesting. We have a lot of different people that choose to take this program. We have people that come from doctors' offices and hospitals that take it. And then we have the other side of it. I have students that have worked for insurance companies who
Oh.
come in and take the class and then to get a promotion within the insurance company or to get out of the insurance company. If that's not where they want to be, they prefer to be in a medical office somewhere. So it's good for all those things. We cover all that kind of stuff. Open a lot of different doors, which is what I like. I like various opportunities. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to be stuck in just having to do just one thing. I like to be able to do a variety of things, a lot of different jobs.
Do we also do clinicals for this course?
Not like formal clinicals, no.
Or like, do we go in and we don't do anything like the dental or the medical assistants, how they do it?
Like what they do on campus, no. We're strictly online. You will get to a portion in the program in module 156 towards the end of I think it should be towards the end of the year or beginning of next year. Module 156 is kind of like an externship.
That's what I mean, I guess.
We put you in software that simulates what you're going to see in a medical office and let you work on that and practice on that. Putting in codes, filing claims, patient documentation, HIPAA forms, all this different kind of stuff. You will have in a simulated software in module 156 and 157.
Okay.
Yeah, we start sim charting like 156. I think we finish it in 157. So you're in it for 2 modules, almost 2 months. And that way, see, you've got good experience behind you. A lot of people who do not or have no medical experience have not seen what medical software looks like. They don't know what an EHR system is or what it's supposed to do. And there's a lot of different companies that design that software. But what's good about it is that it all functions just about the same. They all have the same functionality. They just look a little bit different. They may be set up a little bit different, but they all have some kind of calendar system where you can schedule patients. They all have some kind of form repository where you can give the patient, their new patient paperwork or their confidentiality clauses or whatever you need to give them. They save the patient's demographic information. They have the ability to file claims electronically. And all of this software does that. They all do the same thing. They just look a little bit different. So we find that putting y'all in a software simulation where I give you a task to do, you go into the software, you do the task, just like if you were working in a medical office or a billing office, and then I can go in and look at it, score it, or whatever I need to do. For the most part, there's some caveats there as to what I'm able to look at that y'all do in there. But you will have, certain assignments set in that software that you have to complete. And it'll let me know whether or not you complete it. So that's basically it. But that's kind of like an externship. But no, there's no formal out in the world because we're an online program. It's hard for us to get everybody together and do something in person or something IRL, so to speak. Great question though. Fantastic. Any other questions or concerns for today, guys? No, no, we're good. All right, cool. If y'all don't have anything else for me, that's all I got for y'all today. Have a great evening, and hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow.